Apparently not found. It isn't looking too hard. Welcome back to Lost Cause Ranch. Today we need to start figuring out what to do with this thing. Yes, the cheapest LR4 in the country. Last video we had a bit of an adventure. Here is my nice setup. Awful dark. And we took the budget LR4 and used it to trailer the cheapest LR4. How do we know Old Merlin here is the cheapest one in the country? Well, the previous owners offered it up to us here at the Lost Cause Ranch for free. So we're gonna take a peek at what is wrong, and I'm gonna need your help in deciding what we should do with this later on in the video. But first, I happen to have another disaster going on in the yard and we need to do some rearranging. Probably shouldn't have added another Rover to the collection. I gotta move the P38. With the addition of the LR4, there's just way too many things laying in the yard. Went ahead and cleared a spot up behind the green disco back there. So we got some more winching to do. This one went into neutral and the parking brake's off. Tucks in there nicely. All right, so we have a tree saver, soft shackle, snatch block, P38, LR4, and now we're gonna yank the P38 up there with that little setup. It digs in a little bit when you forget to pull the thing you're pulling out of park. Apparently we need to get it a little closer up the hill because it's yanking it into the green one. All right, we're gonna try this again. I have so many frickin' burrs on. We need to be closer yet. I'm just gonna wait until the morning so we can see my screw-ups in the daylight. All right, so our issue is this is pretty loose, sandy soil. We have a Discovery there, Range Rover there. These two want to meet with the direction I'm pulling from that tree. What we're gonna have to do is get this pulled up pretty close to the LR4, get a little better than half of the Range Rover past this corner of the Discovery, and then when it pulls it down towards here, we should be golden. That's the idea at least, but you know how that goes with me. All right, we're still fighting it, wanting to hit the green one, and we don't want that. So we're going to switch our pull point from up the hill and get the front end facing that way. So once again, we switched our setup. We are slowly inching our way into where we need to be, but now we got the snatch block on the P38 and we're pulling it from a different angle up the hill. I always wanted to have a bunch of Rovers sitting in the woods randomly. So like everything in my life, that became a bit more of an ordeal than I was planning. But the old Vitesse is parked out of the way, up on the hill. Good news is, whenever we're ready to do something with that, we have gravity assisting us this time. Does it get any better than this $300 Amazon winch? We have used the heck out of that thing, and it just keeps ticking. That was a good purchase. I found all the burrs too. Alright, so the largest and most obvious issue with this is gonna be the missing alternator that we robbed. Or maybe the battery. Nope, it is the common problem that plagues these early 5-liter LR4s. It needs timing chains. But we also have a few other things to sort out. This has been parked since October, and in that time period, we've picked up the fact that it will not shift out of park, so we have the shift cable off and manually put it into neutral. The rear parking brake is locked even with the manual release, so the parking brake motor is probably jammed. But the big one we need to figure out first is we cannot communicate with about 75% of the modules. I got a battery from the battery rodeo charging up right now. We're gonna get that popped in and figure something out. For the age and the miles, it is actually in pretty phenomenal shape. It does have a little over 180,000 miles, but we have a fairly clean body without anything major going on this guy. Little ding there, a couple scuffs here and there. Better than this thing. Don't mind that dent. If you haven't watched the video of us picking this thing up with this, Sasha and I had quite an adventure. I think it's worth watching. Links down below. And the interior. Oh, yeah, that's the alternator we replaced in the driveway. And the interior, outside of me stuffing all the parts from robbing the alternator out of this one, is in nice shape as well. Dash is nice. Seat leather is in good shape. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but the clutch must have gave up the ghost on this guy, and that is why the old budget LR4 quit charging in the middle of the night. Another issue we're having is the key does not want to always connect. It's awful finicky. 183,000 miles. Apparently not found. It isn't looking too hard. So underneath the column here, when you have a dead key battery, you're supposed to just put it up against these little ridges there. Still not working. All right, after many attempts, we finally got it to go. And every light in the house is on. Oh, just died. All right, we're gonna do an auto scan and you'll see the issues here. Look at it's clicking right through those and it's not recognizing any of those modules. So we're 43% of the way through the list of modules and not a single one was recognized yet. All right, so here is the list. Well, we don't even have more than a page. We have 6 modules that it connected to. We're missing everything powertrain related. So we need to figure out what is going on there. That would explain all the faults on the dash. All right, so what we're gonna do first is check all the fuses. Start with the simple things. Got the multimeter and I have it set to continuity. So as long as the fuse is good, it'll beep. And all the J cases look good from the viewport. So under here is good. We'll go behind the glove box. Not as much room back here. For the ones I can't reach back in there, pull them out and just hit the blades. That one's good. All of them on the inside are good. Look who's out and recovered from the whirlwind trip. All right, on the J cases, we are missing 3 of them. Good thing we have that guy, because I'm just gonna rob these. I should probably take a picture. That way I know where to put stuff back. Hey, we got tremendously less warnings on. We're gonna run another auto scan. Woo! We found 26 modules this time. Now we're really cooking with oil. Getting somewhere. We don't have a whole lot in the engine control module. Let's check the parking brake and see what's going on there. That'd be beneficial to get sorted out. Got an ignition switch problem. I'm going to see if we can operate it. Now remember, we don't have park because I have it manually shifted into neutral with this disconnected. So woo! I don't know what happened, but it rolled some. All right, if we try and start it, it says gearbox not in park. Probably because I disconnected everything down underneath. So I guess we'll crawl back under, reconnect everything. We might get this thing fired up today yet. I was putting the shift cable back on and dropped one of the pieces. As you can see, we're in the dirt and grass. Can't find it. That was a real Joe move. Couldn't have gone too far. Big problem is there's an LR4 in the way that currently doesn't move because I don't have the shift cable attached. And to get the shift cable attached, I need to find the piece that I need to get the LR4 out of the way to find. I guess we go fishing. And we found it. See how many more times I can drop it. And we're good. Kind of hard to see down here, but I got a little buddy hanging out. Just kind of chilling right there. Merlin is a little noisy. We got some restricted performance going on, but how about that? We're all fired up, figuratively and literally. How about that? We were able to drive Merlin into the shop under its own power. I'd say that right there is proof that your brain, while under a little bit of heat stroke, isn't quite thinking as clearly. Right there out in the yard, we had the same exact tools and resources, i.e. the silver Land Rover to rob some fuses and whatnot off of, as we had in Tennessee in their driveway, and we were able to, in under a couple hours time, get everything back sorted, parking brake unstuck, transmission shifting, and it driving under its own power, albeit reduced power. Instead I struggled and we yanked the thing on. Driving it on would have been easier. But man, this makes me all the more excited to play with this guy. Now we just got to decide what to do with it. With everything working, it auto finds the VIN. That's nice. Imagine that. The alternator that's no longer in it is not working. It's also got something on the intake manifold. No timing codes have shown up yet, but I can assure you by the noise, it needs them. It's rattly. After getting everything plugged in, fuses replaced, and everything communicating, the reason why the manual parking brake would not release is the shoes were still stuck to the inside of the rotors. We had to use a little brute force via the throttle pedal to break that free. Now the parking brake works fine. Now we're in an interesting position as to what we should do with Merlin, the cheapest LR4 in the country. The previous family offered this LR4 up to us for free. We ended up paying them for it, but it was still a tremendous deal. And with that generosity, I'd like to pass it on somehow, whether that be through some knowledge or the vehicle itself. And this is where you guys come in. I'd like your input. I'm gonna lay out a couple options, but also open to whatever else you may think. Let me know down below. After the ordeal of the alternator going out on the budget LR4, going to pick this up and getting this thing drug onto the trailer. On the ride home, I was thinking the best use would be we could strip this thing down completely, end up ultimately parting it out, but we can make a video series of dismantling an LR4 100% and get to see the inner workings. And in that process, we would also pull the 5-liter out and install new timing chains and be able to give a good visual of a engine on a stand, so you can see exactly what is going on. But after getting this thing running and everything seemingly being pretty decent, besides the timing chains, it might be a shame to pull it apart, even though that would be very neat to see. I kind of want to tear one completely apart. But we could also just put this thing back together, and I talked to William, and I said I'd share in the upside if we ever make any profit off of this thing. But to further that, maybe we could split it 3 ways and share the profit with William, along with donating some of the proceeds to some sort of charitable or good cause. Kind of just pass on the generosity from them. But in the last video, a couple people also mentioned getting it going and giving it away, whether it be some sort of wilderness group that could use an off-road vehicle, or maybe to a family in need. My only drawback on that is it's a 180,000 mile Land Rover. So if they are not local to me, you're kind of almost placing a potential maintenance burden on whoever you give it to. So what are your thoughts on that? But no matter what way we slice it, I'd like to do something neat with Merlin, the cheapest LR4 in the country. I mean, we have enough other things going on here at the ranch, but we can squeeze this in. Not gonna happen tomorrow. But either way, please give me your input down below on what you'd like to see done with this 2011 LR4. But anyways, appreciate you guys watching, appreciate you subscribing, and we will catch you on the next one. It'll be back on that guy. Nothing better than an LS3 in a Defender. I mean, there might be some things that are better, but that's pretty cool too.